Hope y'all doing good today. Out here walking the dog. But I wanted to share a little bit about my testimony because I don't really talk about it much on here. But I was addicted to just about all your drugs that you hear about, basically. It started off with painkillers. And one thing I want to start with is I was addicted. I'm not a recovering addict. I'm not an addict. I ain't someone that's always going to be an addict. That's not who I am anymore. The Bible teaches us whenever we come to Christ, and I think this is so important. Whenever we come to Christ, the Bible teaches us that we are a new creation. That means the old has died, the new has come. Whenever people speak over themselves all the time, because the Bible also teaches us that there is the power of life and death in the tongue. So whenever we carry ourselves around all the time saying, well, I'm an addict, I'll always be an addict, and you say those things, then that's what you're going to be. If that's what you believe you are, that's what you're going to be. So whenever we come to Christ, we give our life to Christ. He gives us His Holy Spirit, and we're no longer who we used to be. And the more we learn to walk in that identity, the more you'll notice that the things that you used to want, you don't want them no more. I'm not going to say that temptations don't come. I'm not going to say that they don't. Just like in the beginning, whenever I took drugs for the first time, which was my first time was pain pills. Whenever I first took them, the devil didn't cram them down my throat. Now, the opportunity might have been presented, and he might have wanted that to be something to destroy me, but Jeremy was the one who made the choice to do it. I'm not saying the enemy ain't responsible for drugs and overdoses. I believe it's a tactic that he uses. I believe that it's something that he means to destroy people with. But at the end of the day, we're the ones that choose to put it in our bodies. And that's something that some people might not be comfortable with hearing. Some people have lived or suffered horribly growing up, and drugs and alcohol was used as a coping mechanism for them to get through life. And if you're one of those people, then I'm deeply sorry that you experienced that. But there is new life in Christ. He loves you, and He paid a price not to just forgive and remove your sin, but He also paid a price to remove depression, anxiety, and anger, and whatever you're struggling with. And I am living proof of that. I'm not saying that I don't make mistakes or anything like that, but there is power. There is power in the name of Jesus. I promise you. So, at the age of 17, I started taking painkillers. It started out with a toothache, and I took it, and I liked the way it made me feel. It made me feel good. It made me feel amped up. And I started trying all different types of pain pills. For a while there, the thing that I messed with the most was probably Percocets. And eventually, as years went by, I started dabbling into other things, worse things. And fast forward a little bit, my son, whenever he was born, I wish I could say that my mind was in the right place, or I decided to get my mind in the right place. Deep down inside, I'm sure I wanted to be what I needed to be, but the addiction had a hold of me. The devil had a hold of me. at that point, I done opened doors to things, and I was kind of like justified where I was. So, but it started with me making that choice. I gave the devil access into my life. So, fast forward a little bit more, I ended up making a dumb decision, and it was a day that I should have been at work, but instead I chose to go out and get high, and with people that I didn't even really know, and it led to some problems that night, and it ended up with me losing custody of my kid, and there was also other people involved. I'm not gonna mention their names or who they were, because I mean I ain't gonna do that. So I could have stopped all of it though if I would have just went to work that day and did what I was supposed to do. But instead I didn't, because I was using dope to cope with what I had going on up here. So time went on a little bit, and I had opportunities to get clean. The court system and my family and everybody else wanted me to get straight, but my family, I mean, they've been fighting this fight for a long time. They've been trying to get me to get clean and stuff, and I really feel like they were just, I mean, they wanted me to get clean, but as much as I put them through, part of them was probably wondering, well, it don't look like he's gonna get clean. We just waiting for the day that we get that phone call, you know. I'm not saying that that's bad on their part. I put them through a lot. I broke their hearts, and I really stressed them out, and I caused them a lot of grief. So time went on a little bit, and I ended up starting messing with crystal meth a lot. Me and my son's mom, me and her went our separate ways, and which was for the best, because now we're not together, but we get along better now than we ever have, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that relationship. But come on. But I was still dabbling in the meth and stuff, and for those that don't know much about meth, it's a bad drug. I started staying up for like days at a time. If you don't know what sleep deprivation is, for me, my experience with it was I stayed up for so many days and didn't hardly eat anything, and it got to the point where my mind was playing tricks on me because I wasn't getting the sleep I needed. Sleep's important. So I kept just spiraling down this path of darkness. I started searching for spiritual things in the wrong places, and I'm gonna just let you put that together with your own imagination and imagine what I was probably seeking. But I ended up getting caught one night coming home. I don't know what time it was, but it was probably pretty late, and I was jacked up on the ice, which is meth, and I've been up for several days, and I probably had that blank stare in my face. I got pulled over by a deputy sheriff on my way home. I should have been home and into bed, getting ready to go to work the next morning sober, but instead I was out doing what I thought was okay to do at the time. So whenever that cop pulled me over, he walked up to my window, I'm sitting in the car. When me and him made eye contact together, I knew he knew, because he looked at me, and all he had to do was look at me. He didn't have to speak to me or nothing. He looked at me and he knew what the deal was. So he called a K9, and K9 come out there and alerted on the car. They found the dope. I thought I was going to be smart and hide it in the glove box and lock the glove box, because I reckon I thought that they didn't have the right to go in there. But when that K9 alerts on your vehicle, all that goes out the window. So they found the dope, and at first I denied it. I tried to say that I had somebody else in the vehicle with me earlier, and at one point in time I probably did, but I tried to blame it on somebody else. I didn't want to take responsibility for my actions, but they didn't change nothing. They still locked me up. I had a firearm in the vehicle, and when you got firearm and drugs in the vehicle, that just makes the situation a little worse. So the cop took me to jail, and I remember when we got in the parking lot, I really wanted my freedom. And I was bothered by the fact that I was actually getting locked up. But I still told him thank you. I thanked him for everything. And most people would be like, why would you thank him? You were getting locked up and put in jail. Why would you thank him for that? Well, deep down, I reckon I knew that I needed that, because on my own, I wasn't getting sober. I wasn't getting clean. I was going to keep pursuing the same things. I needed a wake-up call. I didn't want that wake-up call, but I needed it. So I stayed in jail for a few days. Had time to get some of the dope out of my system and sleep a little bit and kind of get back to at least a partially right mind. Well, I got out, and of course I had some ugly charges, so they put me on probation. They put me on supervised probation, and I went through this probation, and you know how probation officers usually get a bad rep. Well, let me tell you that I had the nicest probation officer. This woman really wanted me to get help, and she did everything she could to help me, and she did help me. So she put me in this thing called TASK, which is basically a thing you go through, and then they send you to a doctor, and then you can get put on Suboxone, which is more or less a crutch. Don't get mad at me for saying that. I mean, that's just, it's what it is. But if it's used the right way, it can help people get away from heroin and stuff like that. But it is not meant for you to stay on forever. So she helped me get on that, and I was still messing up a little bit. I actually went into her office one time, and I was not in my right state of mind, and she knew it, and I spilled the beans on myself. I was honest with her, and she looked out for me. She could have locked me up and just signed the paperwork and done away with me, but instead she tried to help me out. So of course that was something that she wanted me to understand, that I couldn't do that again. So this lady really helped me. I'm sorry, I'm trying to take my dog's harness off, but she really wanted to help me, and she gave me a chance. And after that, things got a little better. Well, when I finally got off probation, I didn't want nothing else to do with the meth. I didn't want anything else to do with the hard drugs. I started seeing this girl, and I was basically just taking advantage of what she had to offer. She had something that I wanted, and she ended up growing really attached to me. And what was bad is she was a really sweet woman, and I'm sure she'd make a man very happy one day when she gets married. But I was taking advantage of her feelings and everything, and I didn't like that I was doing it, but she had access to certain things that I wanted. Well, I kind of kept her at an arm's length. I didn't let her get too close, but I didn't let her get too far either, and that's twisted. That's how people end up spiraling out of control and going down the wrong roads, because they got people who want to take advantage of their feelings and break their hearts like that. Well, I ended up started having these breathing problems. I started getting very short of breath, and it got scary. Now, at the time, I was smoking weed. I was taking Suboxone, and I was also taking a little Adderall as well. And I got scared, so I started slacking off on the cigarettes. I started slacking off on the weed and everything like that. And eventually, I got where I was kind of cautious of the Adderall. I didn't stop taking it, but I did become cautious to it. Because I thought something was wrong with my ticker, and I was real short of breath, and it got scary. And I remember one night I got so scared. I really thought, I had it in my mind that I was about to leave here. I thought something was really wrong with me, and I went to the doctor. I had stress tests done on my heart, and I had an ultrasound done of my heart, and they didn't see nothing wrong, but I still had these breathing problems. I was real short of breath, and it was scary for me, so I knew something was wrong somewhere. Well, back to where I was going, one night I was very scared. I believe it was the worst moment with that problem I was having. And plus, when you get real anxious about something, that's just gonna make it worse anyway. So I was scared and just panting and thinking about what kind of life I lived. Thinking about all the things that I did, and I did something that before that, previously 2 years or so before that, I probably would have never seen myself doing. I fell to my knees and I started praying. And I asked God to forgive me for the life that I lived. And I told him that if he would pull me out of that situation, if it was his will to pull me out of that situation, I would live differently. I would not be the same person that I was before. I would start pursuing him. So whenever I was praying that prayer, I had an encounter with the Lord, and I felt a weight lifted up off of my shoulders. Well, whenever that happened, I felt joy, peace, and someone that chased feelings all his life, I was chasing temporary feelings. When I finally got a hold of that feeling, it was over. I knew right away when I felt that feeling, I knew that I encountered the Lord's presence, and it changed me. Everything didn't stop right away. It was a process. The Lord a little bit at a time, he started convicting my heart about some of the things that I was doing, and he started plucking them out of my life a little bit at a time. Kind of like the whole idea of the chisel and the hammer, like basically building a sculpture or whatever. That's kind of how it was. So he's cleaning these things out of my life, and I'm seeking him, praying, reading the Bible, and like the more that I dive into pursuing him, the more things change. The less I want to do all these other things. And guys, before I realized it, the breathing problems that I had, they were gone. I started, I was also on anxiety medicine. I didn't need that anymore. The anxiety stuff was gone. And I had a lot more peace in my life. And ever since then, the Lord's just been continuing to help me grow in him. And it's been a blessing. It really has. If you'd have told me 5 years ago that I would be where I'm at today, I might would have laughed at you. I don't know. I wouldn't have believed you. But it takes the power of God to change somebody that was completely against the idea of serving God. I don't even know if I really, there was a point in time I didn't even really think I believed in God. But apparently I believed more than I thought, because when I thought that I was about to die, then I wanted to cry out to God. And that seems to be the case for a lot of people. And honestly, there's no shame in that. Sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes we get so low in such a dark place that we need God just to grab a hold of us and shake us a little bit and say, hey, are you paying attention now? Look at what's going on. Look at your life. Look at what you've done. Look at the people that you've hurt. It's time to come out of that. And that's basically what happened with me. And the Lord, whenever I cried out to him, he didn't sit with his back turned to me and looking at me like that. What he ended up doing was he met me right where I was at, and he took all these evil things away, and he gave me a hunger and desire just to pursue him. And guys, it's been a blessing. It really has. I'm not going to say that every day has been easy, because little by little, I feel like he's shown me things, and I see now that the world that we're living in, what it's really about. And the Bible is real. Prophecy is real. Prophecy is being fulfilled, and I believe our time is short. Jesus Christ is coming back. We will all stand before him. Every knee will bow. Every tongue will confess, regardless of what we believe. A lot of people try to just not believe and think that somehow it's not going to apply to them, but that's a lie. That's a lie, and that the enemy is trying to get you to believe. I encourage y'all to turn to Christ and know that he paid a price for you, that he loves you, and he will meet you where you're at, just like he met me. With all the things that I chose to do, all the people that I hurt, if he'll meet me where I was, he'll meet anybody. He just wants your heart.